How's it going? We are doing the next CPP for School thing that we've been going through. This is episode 4. My name is Matt. You're watching Code Tech Tutorials, and now that I've said all that, let's get going. Okay, so we left off last episode. We had finished 3, so now we're going to go straight to 4. Write a program which accepts a character and displays its next character. Very good. Okay, and why I'm doing this, just in case you don't know, the whole point of this is really just to help new people learn C++ and get through the basics, because that can often be the most challenging part. I've found is just getting started. So that's the whole intention of this series. If you're in that seat and want to learn, I would recommend starting from the beginning of this and picking through these and getting what you can. Okay, so let's see. We left off. We had done 1, 2, and 3. Those were all working fine. If you want to see those, check last episode. But we're going to go ahead and start with number 4 here, and write a program which accepts a character and displays its next character. So as you saw in the previous episode, characters are displayed by their, what am I trying to say here? They're an integer. Every character is just an integer. It has an ASCII code. So if we just go to the next ASCII code, it should go to the next character. And we can just do that. We'll say enter a character will show the next. Whee! Alright, then we'll just do a cout. I guess we could just do it like this, and that way we can just make an integer, or a character rather, called a thingy. I don't know what to call it. Alright, and then we'll just in this thingy. So that way we ask for the variable, and then what we do next is we just go to the next thingy with thingy plus plus. Thingy is such a weird word, and then we'll just spit it out here. So we will say next character is, and then we'll just output it. So if we enter A, we should get B. If we enter B, we should get C, and so on. So let's get a new line here. That way we don't have weird console output. Now it's noted that you don't have to do this right here. You could do it in line right here. But this actually will probably say the current one and then plus it up next, oddly enough. So you would actually have to do something like this if you really wanted to increment in line, because this is a preprocessor, so it'll go to the next one before spitting it out. So that's a new thing that you kind of need to know, and this will do it after. So we can see the difference here. I'll do this one. We'll see. We should get the same character. This should be wrong, but I just want to test it here. Do I have a makefile? Yeah, I do. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we'll just run make here. We'll show the next. So I'll press A, and it says the next character is A. And just as predicted, it didn't work. So if we put these preprocessor things here and save and recompile, we should actually get it to work. A, next character is B. So there you go. And if you really have this question in a lab, they might want you to keep this variable the same and save the next one or something. So there's another way of doing it. I'll just show you real quick. We'll just say char next equals thingy plus 1, and that should work too, but of course this has to be next. So there's multiple ways of doing this, and whatever is the cleanest and seems the best for you is probably the best. And there goes, next character is B. That was easy enough. We'll try it with some weird character and see what happens, like a capital Z, and it says the next character is bracket. So in the ASCII code, the next character after capital Z is a bracket. So you can test this all you want, or you can just go look at the ASCII chart and you can figure it out. Like if we press the 4 character, we get the 5 character is the next one. Alright, very good. So that wasn't too hard. Let's go to the next one. 5. Write a program which accepts a day as an integer and displays the total number of years, months, and days in it. For example, if an user inputs 856 days, the output should be 2 years, 4 months, and 6 days. Now, we're making some assumptions here, such as, well, we know how many days are in a year. It's 365. But months are a little trickier. We'll just assume every month is 30 days to make it simple. But some months are shorter, some months are longer. So it kind of depends on where you're starting. You need more of a proper date and time library to actually do this accurately. So we'll just, yeah, we'll assume each year is 30. And we kind of did this problem in the first episode with the dollars, I think. No, it was this. It's the exact same thing as this. You just subtract off the biggest parts first and hold it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. So we're up to 5 here. I don't know. I think I'm going to move this over a little, move this over a little. This doesn't matter, but I guess we'll leave it. Okay, I just want you guys to be able to see actually the full line as I type it here. I guess I can collapse this over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. And we'll say years, months, and days since X number of days ago. I guess that'll work for a little blurb, and I'll just copy that line with Control D, and I'll say, and I'm just going to say enter number of days to calc. Spell that correctly, and that way it'll just prompt, and there it goes, entered the wrong number. Okay, yeah, every time, it feels like every time I try to end my line with the second double quotes, it just doubles them up like this, and it ruins it for me. What? Okay, well, anyway, that's an editor problem there. So we want number of days. We need to store this variable. We'll do it all integers because that makes sense. Num of days, and we'll just grab that variable. All right, so there, that'll get that, and then we just need to calculate it out and get the months. So we can actually just sit here and say, yeah, we'll just keep it simple. We need years too. Years, months, days, and now we just need to calculate these based on the number of days input. So we'll say if number of days. Yeah, we'll do this the easy way. Check this out. We'll do a little flow of control. We'll get a little more advanced here. I'm just going to do a while, and we'll say while number of days. Okay, num of days. We'll say while it's greater than or equal to 365, and you can probably guess what we're going to do next here. We'll say we'll go years plus plus every time it goes into this loop, and then we will subtract off the number of days. So then we'll do num of days minus equals 365. So we'll go ahead and subtract that year off. And then when it goes to the next loop, if it still has 365 or more at least, it'll toggle up another year and subtract it off. Then when that's done, we'll process the months in a very similar way. Number of days should be updated by here, so it should be less than 365 in any case. And we'll just do another, well, greater than or equal to 30. We're assuming a month is 30 days here, so we don't have to get super complicated and calculate February. The case of February, we don't even know when this is starting. Actually, this is too vague of a thing, and that's something you got to get used to as a software developer, is vague questions. Because if you ever get hired and someone that doesn't know anything about programming wants something, they're going to give you the most vague, crappy thing to do, and you're going to be like, well, I guess I got to figure it all out on my own because they don't know what the heck they're doing. That's why they hired me. So there you go. It's job security. Don't worry about it. It's a good thing. So yeah, you got to figure out what they mean by months, because months is vague. They should have in parentheses or something here that assume a month is 30 days. Because we know a year, we know what a day is, but a month, that's questionable. 20 to 31. Or we could just make a random number generator that generates something between 28 and 31 and goes off of that, and it's just never the same and never accurate totally because, well, the person who gave you the thing to do was not precise. Anyway, so enough about that. Basically, we're just going to say assume 30 days and disregard all that. So if the number of days is greater than or equal to 30, we're going to say, well, we're going to plus up the months, and we're going to subtract 30 off the number of days. And since this is a while loop, then it's going to continue until number of days is less than 30, and then we'll have just the days left, and whatever is left is the days. So then it's going to equal the number of days. No need to do a subtraction loop on a bunch of ones. It's just going to be equal to whatever it is. And then we can see out at the end and say, well, it depends how verbose I want to be. I've obviously just completely messed up this number of days variable, but I can kind of sort it back out based on a quick calculation, or I could just hold another variable and keep the original one the same. I know it's a mouthful, but it just depends how you want to do this output, because we could say X amount of days, like num of days is so many years. Yeah, so I'll sort this out a little better in a second here. The years is just going to be a number, so it'll say however many number of days is this many years, comma, this many months, comma, and this many days. You know, we don't even need, honestly, now that I think about it, just based on the way of doing it, I don't actually need this day variable, because whatever's left over at the end here is just num of days. So we got a few ways of doing this. I recommend doing whatever's clearest. There we go. So that way we can just completely get rid of this, just since we're updating that num of days variable anyway. And that will save us a tiny bit of memory, which isn't a big deal for one integer, but it could add up if you're doing a complicated mess of things. So this num of days is going to be wrong. What we have to do is we have to do a big calculation here to make this the proper number of starting days. So we would say whatever the years is times 365, because that's how many days are in a year, and then we want to add to that months times 30, and then we also want to add to that just num of days. So that should give us a proper spit out of what's going on there, and I'll go ahead and just surround the entire thing right there in parentheses. So this should get us back to the original number of days is this many years, this many months, this many days, and that should give us the answer. Let's go ahead and give that a test, and we'll just do a, I'm gonna bring this down. Well, I want you guys to be able to see the whole thing at once. Maybe that's important. I guess about right. It'll kill some of these lines here, right there. And I have to go over a little further here. There we go. So that's the whole thing. We'll just do a make, and it's going to run and say, okay, enter the number of days to calc. Let's say 500 and see what it does. And it says 500. Maybe we should say days here. Days is 1 years. Years. So we could make a little ternary operator here to output the proper number of years, because 1 years is obviously bad English and you don't want to do that. So what we could do here is actually something a little tricky. I'll go ahead and show you this. We'll do, this is actually kind of important for formatting. So ternary operator, which we learned in one of the previous episodes. So if years is greater than 1, wait a second. How do you say 0 years? You say it with plural, because you don't say 0 year. You would say 0 years. That's really, really freaking awkward. So basically, if years is not equal to 1, is what we're going to do, then we say years. Why English? So wait a second. Now that I'm thinking about this is just freaking awkward. So in English, we say 0 as plural. It's been 0 years. It's obviously not plural. It's nothing. But 0 year doesn't sound right. Anyway, okay, that's a side rant, but what? That's just weird. So, okay, so if it's not equal to 1, we're going to say years. Otherwise, we're going to say just year, because 1 year. And we could do the same thing for months, so we'll go ahead and, we'll go ahead and do that. So if months is not equal to 1, then we're going to say, okay, I'm just going to break this up into multiple lines at this point. So I'm going to break right at this here. Note that there's no actual new line. I just want to have each set of this on a new line. And what are we doing wrong here? I think I need to surround this entire thing in parentheses. Yes. Okay, yeah. So apparently when you're doing these in line like this, you gotta surround the entire thing in parentheses so it's not confused. Okay, so if months is not equal to 1, we're going to say months, comma. Otherwise, we're just going to say month. And we need a space up here, comma. And we can get rid of this whole months there. And we do need to surround this whole thing in parentheses. But now this will give us a proper output. Number of days, we need to do the same thing. So if number of days is not equal to 1, English, why you gotta do this to us? Well, we'll do our starting parentheses here. We'll go ahead and prep our end one right there. But basically, if number of days is not equal to 1, we're gonna say days, plural. Otherwise, we're going to say day, because if it's just one day, we say day. Yeah, and that's it. That should give us the correct answer and a proper English sentence, no matter how we enter our number. There we go. So enter the number of days to calc. We're just going to say 1 and see what this does. And it'll say 1 days. Uh-oh. I need a space here. And, oh god, I didn't actually correct this. So if this is only 1, this days is going to be wrong. So we could correct that whole thing by once again doing another ternary operator here and saying well, yeah, this, I'm done. I'm sure you can figure out how to correct it if you want, but I'm done. I'm done with this question. I'm moving on to the next one. Here's this. So if you enter 1 as just 1 day, yeah, you're going to get the wrong one, but we could make a little ternary operator and sort that out too, but we've done enough. This is taking too long. Let's do 900 days and see how that goes. 900 days is 2 years. Oh, I forgot to actually say months. So my bad. So I need a months here, and then I need to spit out the word, and same with the days. So if you caught that earlier, congrats. You're a more skilled logic person than I am. Okay, let's try that 900 again. And we get 900 days is 2 years, 5 months. And I guess we could have an and here. And okay. Oops, I hit Control D instead of Control S. There we go. So there's the answer there. It's we can put in whatever. We'll just put in a giant number and we'll say, oh, that's a lot of years, months, and 7 days. Okay, we don't need the space there. All right, well that's enough of that. Let's go on to the next one. This is going to be the last one for now. Number 6. What is the output of the following program? Okay, so we might not actually need to code for this. But we can test it with some code. Okay, so we're done with this whole days thing, and as you can see, that's how you also do ternary operators right in line to get the proper, to just correct English and stuff too. So that's kind of cool, or correct whatever language you're using. You might not necessarily be using English, doesn't matter. But the point is formatting. Formatting is important, and you can assist your formatting in ways like this. Alright, what is the output of the following program? Int result equals 4 plus 5 times 6 plus 2. Now, like I explained an episode or 2 ago, this doesn't follow the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally rule for C++. So this is going to go from left to right. It's going to do 4 plus 5, which is 9. Then it's going to do 9 times 6, which is, what, 54? And then plus 2. So this should be 56. Yeah, this should be 56. Let's go ahead and click show the answer and see if 56 is correct. No, 36? Wait, why? Okay, it is following the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally rule because this is 30 and we add 4 and add 2 and we get 36. What? Did I misspeak? Have compilers changed these days from when I originally learned? Now I feel like I'm misguiding people. Let's just do this. We want a new line here. Since we're putting it in the C out. They should have one too, but they don't care, I guess. If you're returning this, then obviously you don't need a new line, but they're not returning, they're C outing it, so they should have a new line there, but they don't. Yeah, I guess let's just go ahead and run this and see what happens. We get 36. So I was wrong. Apparently it does follow the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally rule. That's actually news to me. What I usually do is carefully separate them out with parentheses to make them go in the order I want. So I guess I haven't tested this in a really long time, just because I assumed it wouldn't be proper. But it is proper. It does follow it to some extent. I don't know how far. So take it with a grain of salt. I'd still recommend using parentheses to sort it out the way you want. But yeah, I assumed it would go left to right. So that's interesting. We don't really need 6. And okay, so this will be the same thing, except it's using a modulo, which is basically a how many are left. I guess modulo would happen before the plus, just taking a guess here. And based on that, it's going to be 7 modulo 2. 2 will go into 7 3 times, and it'll have 1 left over. So this is going to evaluate to 1 and then a plus 5. So we should get a 6 here. So because 5 plus 1. And let's just spit that out and see what we get. And we need a standard here. And we need a new line here, otherwise it's going to look real crappy. Alright, and let's just see if we get an actual 6. We do. Okay, so it does the modulo before the plus. Good to know. Does it do the modulo before the times? I don't know. You can test that out on your own if you want. But there you go. If you don't know how modulo works, it wasn't really explained in any of these labs directly yet, but basically it's how many are left over after a full division. So yeah, 7 modulo 2. How many times does 2 go into 7? Or how many are left over after dividing by 2? So it would be, it's the remainder basically. So that's standard division stuff here. So this would equal, if you were doing a division, it would be 3 remainder of 1. So with a modulo, it's just the remainder of 1 is the answer, and it's just 1. Hope that helps. Alright, well that's going to do it for this episode. In the next one, I'll continue on, and I'll try to hammer out the rest of these and carefully explain everything as I go. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great day. And let me know if you have any questions below. If you'd like to see any specific examples or have any certain questions you want me to try to answer, I will do that. I do plan on going to LeetCode eventually and working through some of those on here. So maybe after I get through all these labs, this is taking a little longer than expected. I thought I would like fly through these in a few minutes, but stopping to explain and think about things is taking a little longer, and it's kind of important. Like when given a question like that months one, I could quickly just assume months is 30, but you know, if a real person were asking me to do this, I would go straight to them and be like, "What do you mean by months? I don't want you to dock my grade, or I don't want to mess up the program because I'm making some assumption. So what do you need here for months? Do you want me to carefully calculate which month it would be based on how long ago? Because you know, you can do that. All right. Well, once again, I'm out. Peace out, guys. See you in the next episode.